Hello. My name is Gary. I'd like to talk to you about alcoholism and drug addiction. I want to explain what the problem is and offer a solution.
Yes. We will be using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It is the basis of all 12-step programs. If you have a big book with you, then open it up to the title page. If you do not have one, then you should get one.
So, looking at the title page, it says that this is the story of how many thousands of men and women recovered from alcoholism. If alcohol is not your problem, then just insert your drug of choice in place of the word alcohol.
This should offer us a little hope. It says that we can get recovered.
Yes, that's right. So, let's look at what else the book has to say. Now, I don't know about you, but I have never read the preface of a book before. I just skipped to the first chapter. But today, we are going to take a look at the preface. There is some very valuable information in there.
Okay. So turn to Roman numeral XI, which is the beginning of the preface. The second paragraph says, because this book has become the basic text for our society and has helped such large numbers of alcoholic men and women to recovery, there exists strong sentiment against any radical changes being made in it. Therefore, the first portion of this volume, describing the AA recovery program, has been left largely untouched in the course of revisions made for the second, third, and fourth editions.
So, this is a textbook. And like, say, a math textbook, you can't skip around and expect to understand it. You can't just go to the end of the book and start solving the problems without reading the work and doing the exercises.
Right. It also says that since it has helped so many people, they didn't want to make any radical changes in it. That is because it works just like it is. So, turn to the next page to the foreword to the first edition. It
says that we, of Alcoholics Anonymous, are more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. To show other alcoholics precisely how we have recovered is the main purpose of this book. For them, we hope these pages will prove so convincing that no further authentication will be necessary. We think this account of our experiences will help everyone to better understand the alcoholic. Many do not comprehend that the alcoholic is a very sick person. And besides, we are sure that our way of living has its advantages for all.
This tells us a lot of stuff, like who wrote the book,
the first 100 recovered men and women,
what we have,
a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body,
what the purpose of the book is,
to show other alcoholics precisely how we recovered.
There's that word again. Recovered. We are only a couple of pages into the Roman numerals and the word recovered has been used several times already.
It also tells us the alcoholic is a very sick person. It doesn't say that he is a bad person or an immoral person. It says that he is sick, he has a disease.
Right. But it also tells something that I think is way cool. That our way of living has advantages for all. My family is better off, and so is yours, because I'm not driving drunk. My boss is happier, so is my banker because I pay my bills.
Okay. Skip over to Roman numeral XX in the middle of the first paragraph. It has some statistics. These were gathered in 1955. It says that of alcoholics who came to AA and really tried, 50% got sober at once and remained that way. 25% sobered up after some relapses, and among the remainder, those who stayed on with AA showed improvement. Other thousands came to a few AA meetings and at first decided they didn't want the program. But great numbers of these, about 2 out of 3, began to return as time passed.
Basically, this says that half of them got it and half of them didn't. Out of the half that were knuckleheads, half of them sobered up after some relapses. And, out of the remaining 25%, many of those eventually got it.
So why are the statistics so bad today compared to what they used to be? I have some ideas about that. We will discuss it as we go through the rest of the discussion.
If you turn to page 28 in Roman numerals, which is page XXVII, we will look at the doctor's opinion. It was written by Dr. Silkworth, a neurologist working at Towns Hospital. He had noticed that a small group of patients, about 10%, kept coming back. They never seemed to get any better. They were hopeless drunks.
Yes. He says, we believe, and so suggested a few years ago, that the action of alcohol on these chronic alcoholics is a manifestation of an allergy. That the phenomenon of craving is limited to this class and never occurs in the average temperate drinker. These allergic types can never safely use alcohol in any form at all. And once having formed the habit and found they cannot break it, once having lost their self-confidence, their reliance upon things human, their problems pile up on them and become astonishingly difficult to solve.
Wait a minute. I have to call bullshit here. This can't be an allergy. There is no anaphylaxis. I don't swell up or break out in hives. There is no way that I'm allergic to wine or wild turkey.
Yes, I understand what you are saying. But think of it as an abnormal reaction that causes a craving instead of making up breakout in hives. Look at it as a reaction that you are powerless over. In the same way that you are unable to control a peanut allergy. I mean, really, if you are allergic to peanuts, you would never think that, today I'm going to eat me a Snickers. But it's going to be all good. I'll just man up.
Okay. I get it. So it's like a craving. Maybe like a craving for cheeseburgers. I can have cheeseburger.
Well, not exactly. I mean, you wouldn't keep eating cheeseburgers till you ran out of money or passed out, or went to jail, would you? This is a kind of craving that says the more you have, the more you want. Kind of like you can never get enough. And you will keep going until something stops you. Usually something like loss of consciousness, loss of freedom, lack of money. And the emotional appeals of others will not stop you. The judge might say he will send you to jail if you get another drunk driving charge, or your boss might say he will fire you if you miss work again because of a hangover. Your wife might threaten to divorce you and take the children. Yet once you start, you cannot stop.
So this is telling me that I have a body that cannot drink. And that when I do, something happens that I cannot control, similar to an allergy to penicillin or cats. This goes back to the seemingly hopeless state of mind and body that was mentioned at the very beginning. Let's take a look at the mind part of it.
Down at the bottom of the page it says that men and women drink essentially because they like the effect produced by alcohol. The sensation is so elusive that, while they admit it is injurious, they cannot after a time differentiate the true from the false. To them, their alcoholic life seems the only normal one. They are restless, irritable and discontented, unless they can again experience the sense of ease and comfort which comes at once by taking a few drinks which they see others taking with impunity. After they have succumbed to the desire again, as so many do, and the phenomenon of craving develops, they pass through the well-known stages of a spree, emerging remorseful, with a firm resolution not to drink again. This is repeated over and over, and unless this person can experience an entire psychic change, there is very little hope of his recovery.
Right. I get that. I like the effect. It makes a good day better and a bad day tolerable. But what's up with not being able to tell the true from the false?
Well, the truth is that if you drink, you're going to get drunk. And the false is that things will be different this time. You will only have a couple, or if you switch to beer, it will be okay. It's also part of the falsehood that this is normal, but normal people don't stash a bottle in the closet or under the car seat. They don't make their plans around how to drink or how to not drink. They simply don't think about things like that. They aren't restless, irritable, and discontented without their drug of choice because they don't obsess over it.
So, I suppose you're right. I do get a sense of ease and comfort when I drink. And I suppose that I do get drunk every time I drink. It kills the anxiety and the fear. That is my solution.
Let me ask you a couple of questions. So, if you can choose to not drink or drug, can you stick with that choice? And, if you go ahead and drink or drug, can you control and enjoy it? How about when you are done, do you feel remorseful and say that you will never do that again? Only to find yourself doing that exact same thing? Because, if you do, maybe you need a different solution. And the book says that an entire psychic change is what you need. It says that, as strange as this may seem to those who do not understand, once a psychic change has occurred, The very same person who seemed doomed, who had so many problems he despaired of ever solving them, suddenly finds himself easily able to control his desire for alcohol, the only effort necessary being that required to follow a few simple rules.
On page 23 it talks about how alcoholics react like normal men when they stay away from alcohol. But when he takes alcohol into his system, something happens, both in the bodily and mental sense, which makes it virtually impossible to stop. These observations would be academic and pointless if our friend never took the first drink. Therefore, the main problem of the alcoholic centers in his mind rather than his body.
We will continue this in part 2.